We told you last night about yet another reason for you in Queensland to flush the government that you have. I will give you the domestos to get rid of the stain. This mob are crook. An Auditor-General's report which came out yesterday that we talked about was featured, thankfully, on the front page of the Courier Mail. Today was absolutely red hot. It was all about the sports minister in Queensland doing the sports rorts thing. Put simply, exactly what Bridget McKenzie ended up losing her job for, this guy was doing. Apparently, he had made some 33 decisions to move grants towards electorates that unsurprisingly were Labor electorates, including one that was a neighbouring Labor electorate. The Auditor-General's report read that neither his reasons for selecting the applications nor the assessment criteria used were documented. No paperwork. He just decided to go off and do it. When asked about it today, this is what the Sports Minister told Neil Breen on 4BC this morning.
What the federal senator did, she broke the rules. What I did, I made it fairer.
What? Like, come on. Like, there's spin and then there's just knocking yourself out with the footy. She broke the rules, but I just made it a bit fairer. Remember, ministers do have the authority to be able to overrule their departments. But the outrage in Canberra when, God forbid, you overrule the bureaucrats, ultimately led to, because the decisions were political, Bridget McKenzie losing her job in the government, in the cabinet and the ministry. This bloke should do exactly the same. But if you are someone watching us right now on free-to-air television, on Sky News, on Win in regional Queensland, rather than showing you a 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second grab, I want to show you in real time how the pointless puppet, paranoid premier that is Palaszczuk handled this today. Her minister caught red-handed, moving around taxpayers' money for the political gain of the Labor Party. Watch this shit show.
The LNP is saying that Mick De Brenni should be sacked over his sports grants interventions. Do you support him and why?
So in relation to that, the Auditor-General handed down a report. The Auditor-General made a number of recommendations. The government has accepted those 4 recommendations. Some involve Queensland Treasury. I've spoken to the Treasurer. They're going to make those happen, and there was one for the Department of Premier and Cabinet, and we're going to ensure that happens.
Are you happy with what's going on, though, with this situation?
Well, what was very clear here is that my understanding is that the report found that there was it was mostly consistent across the major parties. So I think there was a differentiation of around 1%. But you know, when the Auditor-General makes recommendations, my government will implement them, and that's exactly what I promised to do. We will implement them quickly, and it said more record keeping needs to happen, and more record keeping will happen in the future.
How can taxpayers feel confident?
Sorry?
Will he stay on them?
Yes.
Okay.
More? None was done. Now, what she was doing there deliberately by reading the notes was, if I read the notes, then this will make pretty bad television pictures, so probably they won't run it at 6 p.m. Honestly, exactly the same thing cost a federal government minister their job. In Queensland, we are not doing anything wrong. You are the idiot public. Just like we told you last night, at the height of the pandemic, they were out there doing press conferences in the front of cardboard boxes saying this is our wall against COVID, yet they almost ran out of PPE. So now they're going to build an actual stockpile and they'll do it in Rockhampton. This is the Premier who says, oh, I don't know who that former Labor MP is, who we paid $500,000 to his consultancy firm to do polling in and around coronavirus, despite the fact that she'd actually met him face-to-face 7 times. Oh, yeah, and employs his son in her office. Queensland, flush this mob. No wonder the Sports Minister thinks he can get away with it, because she thinks she can too.